How come when Moses came down the mountain, his face was red? Why was his face red? Well, there's a really cool story about all of this. And the story of Moses is far more interesting, far cooler than, what we have been told. Because we, and by we, I mean Catholics and Christians. I grew up Catholic. I went to Catholic school for 9 years. So, I got all that information crammed down my throat about all this biblical history. And when you really actually learn what's going on, you understand that the Bible is not a history book. It's not about real men. Okay, the Bible is a story. It's called the greatest story ever told. It's a story. It's not a biography about a man named Jesus. Okay, it's a story. There's a reason Jesus speaks in parables. It's just unreal how much we have been deceived. When you begin to learn the real story, okay, Moses coming down the mountain with the 10 Commandments. The 10 Commandments are an Egyptian idea. Okay, the 10 Commandments come from the 42 Negative Confessions, which is Egyptian. It comes from the Hammurabi Code, from the ancient Assyrian, Babylonian Hammurabi king. It's an ancient set of laws that we still use to this day. What people have to understand is the way that we operate in this world, okay, our law is Jewish, okay? Our philosophy is Greek, okay? And our government is Roman, because we still are controlled by the Roman Empire. It's called the Vatican. Okay, the word Vatican comes from Vati. All right, Vati was an ancient deity that the ancient Romans and the ancient people used to worship this deity called Vati, and Vati lived under the ground. All right, so the Vatican, it's rumored that the Vatican is built on top of an old Mithra temple, which would actually make a lot of sense because they used to believe in the underground god Vati. So that's where you get that word. Now, Moses was first of all, if he was real, I would be surprised. But if he was real, Moses was a teacher, which is why he is standing in front of a caduceus. A lot of people don't know what a caduceus is. Okay, a caduceus is the two snakes wrapped around a stick. All right, what does that actually resemble? Raising the kundalini. That's what that is. That the snakes wrapping up the stick is your oil, your Christ oil, which is what the word Christ means. It means oil. Christ, Christos, Christus, it means oil. Okay, the word Christos means oil. There were many Christs before Jesus, okay? Many, all right? Thousands of years before Jesus, we have Christos, who was a Indian god, all right? A Messiah, Indian god, Messiah, whatever you want to call him. It's all the same. Now, when Moses came down the mountain, he had the law, and he throws it down on the ground, and he breaks the law. Moses is the first law breaker. That's where we get this whole idea of Moses being the law breaker. And the idea of breaking laws, it comes from Moses's Jewish law. Now, this law, like I said, was a hand-me-down from the Egyptians, just like everything else that we get. It's all hand-me-downs. And that's, again, why the Roman Empire runs the world. The Vatican is the Roman Empire. It's a hand-me-down, okay? So now we get Moses, and he comes down the mountain, and he throws the tablets, and he breaks the law. Why does he break the law? Because the children of Israel, his people, are worshiping a golden calf. Now, a lot of people don't know, why are they worshiping a golden calf? They're not just worshiping a golden calf because they liked bulls. They liked cows so much, and they were giving one up to the gods. They thought the gods liked cows. No, that's not what they were doing. There's a reason why the calf was golden. Okay, it says it. The calf was golden. They could have just said it was a regular calf. There's no such thing as a golden calf. There's no calves out there that are wrapped in gold. So this is obviously trying to tell us something. What is the golden calf? Well, it's really simple, and it has to do with astrology, which is why the church, the priests, the people in charge don't want you to learn about astrology, because when you learn about astrology, you begin to realize that you have been lied to, and then you're never going to listen to these liars again. That's why they don't want you to learn it. It has nothing to do with, oh, it's satanic, it's bad, you're going to go to hell. If that was the case, then the church would not have stained glass of the zodiac signs all over them in every cathedral you're ever going to see, all over the country, all over the world. Okay? So please, anyone that's, oh, you astrologers and magicians, oh, they're going to burn in hell. Okay. In your fantasy land, maybe, but in the real world, not going to happen. So what we need to understand is the golden calf is the sun in the age of Taurus the bull. Okay? It's really simple. This stuff is not as hard as they make it out to be. It really isn't. It's a very simple idea. So what actually happens in the sky, and you can determine this yourself by walking outside and looking at the stars on the spring equinox. Okay? That's all you have to do. So anyone that doesn't believe in this stuff, oh, it's hokum, it's not real, oh, it's not, but it is, because you can just go outside and look and see. So it's so funny. Like, I was outside recently with somebody, and we were looking for the North Star. I know where the North Star is. All right, you have to find the Big and Little Dipper, and then you can do the finger trick, which is this. You make the moon horn, basically, and you can line the Big Dipper, the last star, the star in the corner, with the North Star. It matches perfect. When you do that, you line it up, you got to find the Big and Little Dipper. At the end of the Little Dipper, the handle matches with the corner of the Big Dipper, and that handle piece of the Little Dipper is your North Star. So I'm showing my stepson how to do it, and I'm teaching him, you know, where Arcturus is, because Arcturus also connects to the Big Dipper, and that's in the Bible. I mean, all these stars they talk about in the Bible as well. So I'm looking and I'm showing him how to find it just by seeing, you know, not with a phone or a compass or anything. And I'm outside with somebody, and they're like, no, that's not it. They're with their phone. It's over there. Like, over there? What are you talking about? Well, my phone says it's over there. I don't give a damn what your phone says. It's not over there. I'm looking at it right here. People put far too much trust and faith into their little gadgets, and they're not that accurate. I gotta be honest. They're just not. All right? The app that I have on my phone, when you line it up to the stars, it's not even close. They're off by a long shot. So you learn how to do it with your own eyes. Learn how to do it with your eyes. You trust your eyes. This is how people did this a long time ago. They didn't have iPhones to look up. They didn't even have telescopes. They looked with their eyes. Start to learn how to do it. It's very, very simple. Okay? And if anyone wants to learn this stuff and can't figure it out, please message me. I will literally spend time out of my day. I will do a Skype call with you and teach you how to do this for free, because I want people to know the truth. Okay? It's so funny. I love when people say to me, like, oh, you do this for money. Really? Is that why I spent 2 years writing a book and charged $15 for it? I mean, if I did this for money, I would have charged $70, like the rest of the world. Give me a break. So it's just funny. Now, back to Moses. Moses was angry for them worshiping the golden calf. The golden calf, like I said, is the sun in the age of Taurus. You got to look out at during the spring equinox, you have to look at the southern hemisphere, and right before the sun comes up, whatever star set, constellation set you're staring at, is the age we're in. These ages last over 2,000 years, like 2,125, 26 years. Something in that range. That's what we're being told by people that study this stuff. So that age will last for 2,000 years. The children of Israel were worshiping Taurus the bull because they were in the age of Taurus the bull. They were worshiping the golden calf because it's the golden calf is Taurus the bull, the golden sun in the age of the bull, Taurus. Okay, Moses came down and he started flipping out and he threw the law down. He breaks the law. There you get breaking the law. Then he was angry and he starts blowing the ram's horn and he teaches the people, no, you have to blow the shofar and blow the ram's horn. Why blow the ram's horn? What is the age? If you look at a zodiacal wheel, what comes after what comes after Taurus the bull? It's Aries the ram. So he was telling his people, we can't worship this way because the age is changing. He was a teacher. He taught people how to raise their kundalini, which is what the caduceus is going inside you. It's your Christ oil. When your Christ oil gets released, which it does, you can train it to get released, or it gets released when the moon is in your sun cycle. If you can get the chemical to go down all the way to your feet, what happens is it turns into a gas and then it comes back up. If you can get the gas to come back up, you're going to have an awakening. You're going to have a spiritual experience. What that does is it also opens up your brain, in layman's terms, and gives you more storage space. It starts to clean out your storage space in your brain. Now, this is 1000% true. My memory used to be pretty bad, and I started learning this stuff and really applying all of these things to my life. And now I almost have a pictographic memory. I mean, I listened to 2-hour Jordan Maxwell videos and remember almost the entire thing verbatim. So what this type of knowledge does for your brain and memory is astounding, okay? Now, and Moses was teaching people this. Same with Jesus, if they were real, which they probably weren't. But the point that they're trying to get across, the people that wrote the Bible are trying to tell us this by using all these symbols and words. Now, the changing of the age. So you have the Taurus the bull going into Aries the ram, which is Moses's time. Moses was the king during this time. Then Jesus comes. Now, Jesus is the fish, right? It's always about the fish, the fisherman of men. Even the Pope wears the ring of the fisherman. Why the ring of the fisherman? Because Jesus is Pisces. Pisces is the two fish. The two fish, Pisces, comes after Aries. This is why we have a reign of Jesus Christ for 2,000 years. It's the 2,000 years of the reign of Pisces, in the age of Pisces, in the sky. Okay? Even look up Moses. Go look him up right now. He has horns. Why? Because he represents Aries the ram. It also represents the moon in the quarter moon, which looks like a horn. This is why Vikings wear horns. This is why Native Americans wear horns. This is why they always used to say, "Ooh, many moons. I went to the next town over, and it took many moons to get there. I went hunting, and it took many moons before I could find my whatever. Bad examples, but you get it. You get what I'm trying to say. They said many moons. They in a sense were moon worshiping. Why? Well, there was a god. The god Sin was the moon god back then. So there were actual moon gods. So we know that they worshiped the moon. But not only that, they kept time with the moon. It was like a sort of calendar for them. The ancient people used two calendars. They had a lunar and a solar. Even Jewish people today, when they celebrate their holidays, they go back to a lunar-based calendar, because lunar-based calendars are 13 moon cycles per 28 days in each. Back in in the ancient Roman days, before we got our BS calendar, what they used to do was they also worshiped, they used two calendars. One of them was solar, one of them was lunar. The solar calendar they used only had 10 months, as a matter of fact. And the 2 months extra, they just turned that into what was called winter. That was their winter. And it was this 2-month remaining leftover from the 10 months. And that was their calendar back in the day. Now, obviously, we have adopted new calendars. We got the, we're on the Gregorian calendar, but, you know, there were a couple before. The Gregorian calendar we got from Pope Gregory. And it's just, in my opinion, I mean, it's impressive in a way how accurate it is, because, you know, it is fairly accurate. I mean, But how do we know it's accurate? Because on the winter solstice, December 22nd, 23rd, and 24th, the sun actually sets in the exact same location for 3 days in a row. And this has been actually accurate now for a while. So it is accurate. It is not 100%. It's starting to slip. But that's bound to happen. I mean, we don't use two calendars anymore. We don't have two ways of telling time. And I will say, though, the sky is God's way of telling time. And that's why we don't live on a spinning ball that endlessly spins through space. We've had these same constellations. It's God's clock. Look in the temple, Google the Temple of Esna right now, and you'll see, what you're going to see is the zodiac signs on a temple that they claim is thousands of years old. Now, they're the same zodiac signs. They've never changed. People like to say they've changed. They haven't. They've changed some of the signs. Like at one point, Scorpio, the scorpion, was a lofty eagle. And this is why in the church, in the zodiacs in the church, you see the eagle. You'll see it all over the place. And ancient Egypt used the eagle as well. Now, the eagle was scorpion. It was Scorpio, the scorpion. That got changed into Scorpio, and I do believe that's because they needed it to change, because they need the negative connotation coming into the wintertime, because wintertime is a season where everything becomes internal. We internalize everything, okay? The animals hibernate. All of this stuff happens, and we internalize. So we're literally taking everything in. In the summertime, it's opposite. We're outside, we're enjoying the sun in nature, and we are energetic, and we're giving the universe our energy. In the winter, it's quite the opposite. And the elite members of society, remember where we get the word elite from. It's elite. El was an ancient deity, one of the most ancient, and his name was also Cronus in Greek mythology. His name was Saturn as well. Saturn has rings, which means you had to wear rings to worship Saturn, which is where we get rings from. Now, the wearing of the rings, men would wear wedding rings to show their devotion to Saturn, their god, who was the inhibitor. Saturn would inhibit you. Saturn is Satan. That's where we get Satan from. Look in any biblical resource book, and it's going to tell you Saturn comes from Satan. Lucifer comes from Venus. Okay, why? Why Venus with Lucifer? Well, that's because Venus is very bright and comes right up before the sun does. It was dubbed the morning star. Okay, the morning star became the light bearer. The light bearer became Lucifer because Luce means light. Luce means light. Lucifer means light. All right, they've been telling us this for years. Star Wars, Luke versus Darth Vader. It's light versus dark. Luke, Luth, Luke, Luce, Lucifer, Luke. It's all the same. Darth, dark, dark, Set. Set was the evil entity way back in the day. Why Set? Because at night the sun would set, and at night it was scary, and that's when the bad things happened. So Set was the evil deity. Now, Set was a very ancient deity, very, very ancient. El, I believe, came after, and that's because El was Saturn. And in order to even understand Saturn, you had to see Saturn. And the way that what we got to understand is religion and ideologies came from the northern hemisphere. Why? Because this is where we have our constellations, where we can see them all. This is where it happens. So it's all based on constellations, stars, the moon, all of that. This is where these ideas come from. So Moses ushered in Aries, the ram's horn. They still blow it today. The Israelites in that time, no, I don't want to worship the ram. No, I want to worship the bull. They didn't want to change, okay? When some of the Israelites, a lot of them, they finally caught on. They started worshiping the ram. Then Jesus came along, the fish. Worship the fish now. You need to worship the fish. And all of the Jewish people said, no, I don't want the fish. I want the ram. I want to worship the ram. I'm worshiping the ram. Screw the fish. Only ram. Ram only. So they're doing the same thing. It's the same exact thing that happened thousands of years ago when they didn't want to worship the ram, okay? They were worshiping the bull. They didn't want to worship the ram. Now they're worshiping the ram. They don't want to worship the fish. Now we're from the fish because Jesus has been around now for 2,000 years. And when you look up on the equinox, on that spring equinox, you're going to see the constellation Pisces. But what you're going to notice is the constellation Pisces is almost out of the way now. And the constellation Aquarius is coming in. So a lot of people think we're in Aquarius, we're in Aquarius. We're not. We're coming into Aquarius and we're almost there. We're at the butt end of Pisces. We're not fully in Aquarius yet. We're entering in Aquarius. Now, Aquarius is interesting because what does Aquarius bring? It brings what I find fascinating. It brings information. Now, what kind of information is this going to bring? That's the thing. Are we going to bring in information for the people? Are we going to get the information? Are we going to learn? Are we going to use this information to gain knowledge? Or is it going to be information, AI information? And that's going to control us. That's what I'm wondering. Because these ages do have an effect on us. The sun is an energy, just like the rest of the luminaries are in the sky. And, you know, the elites, L, where we get that from, elite, and when you become an elite member of society, you become elevated, L. So it all comes from L. They were called Elus, the people that worshipped L, Elus. And Elus, when it became Romanized, became ILLUS, the Ilus. And that's where we get illumination from and all of this stuff, Illuminati, all this stuff. So it's all really about the sky and the stars and the luminaries and the planets and all that. And that's why the church doesn't want you to learn about it, because when you learn about it, you debunk all their nonsense. But if you want to learn this stuff, please, I just wrote a book and it took a while to write. I put a lot of work into it. I'm not a writer. I did as good of a job as I can, and I think it came out pretty good. And all of this information that I'm talking about is in this. I make a lot of cases. I talk about ancient history all the way up to now, and I made it affordable. Like I said, if you go to my website, With the Sun 33, it's digital. You can go on there, you can get your copy right now, and you can learn about all of this stuff. Also, follow me on Telegram, With the Sun, and that's where you can ask me any questions. I'll talk to you. I post uncensored videos there. I'm going to be starting to do more, but check out my website. I have lots of information on there as well, withthesun33.com, and I love you all.